Hello, Dad here. This is the 5th of August, and this is just a quick one. I was really tired last night, and I was I was a little bit bummed out because of the attitude of my friend who used expletives and asked me not to comment on his postings because he didn't like the fact that I was uh, trying to look at both sides of the coin. And he was so anxious to lump all these whack job shooters into the same camp as neo-Nazi white supremacists, egged on by President Trump, et cetera, et cetera. So I was thinking, when I was in the prison system, that sounds bad, doesn't it? When I was working for the Department of Corrections, there were a lot of white separatist, neo-Nazi skinhead groups. And one of their core beliefs was the concept of Rohawa. Maybe I'm mispronouncing it, but it was a racial holy war. And this has been going on forever. Not just since President Obama, not just, it predates Clinton. It's just people that are anxious to set up a socialist government and to make a white America. And it's hard to get people to be intellectually honest enough to see that this problem isn't a recent phenomenon. And their desire to foment revolution, along with the Black Guerrilla family, along with a lot of other different racially based organizations, are about violence and the violent overthrow of the government and the destruction of the Constitution and things like that. So anyway, unfortunately, I'm not real sure what the Gilroy guy's thing was. I heard it was racially motivated. And the El Paso guy, he's been very open with that. Like I mentioned, the Colorado shooter last month or so, he was a transgendered kid. The media dropped that really fast because they didn't want that kind of narrative getting out there to ruin their fun about what constitutes an evil person. And some information that I saw, and I'm assuming it's fairly accurate, was the Dayton shooter. What was his name? Bettis or whatever his face is. But some of the comments he made on Twitter, he was, a socialist-leaning, Elizabeth Warren supporting climate activist who made some very interesting comments. One was he made a comment to somebody posted a question on Twitter. Are there some easy ways to help close detention camps? Talking about the ICE detention facilities, since they're not detention camps. But anyway, he replied, this is followers at Atomsk, whatever, Atomsk. Cut the fences down, slice ice tires, throw bolt cutters over the fences. Okay. He also talked about referencing anybody who may be pro-Constitution and supportive of any of the president's policies, which, again, I'm not a big fan of the brash way he tweets and speaks and things like that. He's not as smooth and polished as Obama was. But he refers to anybody that is in that sort of category as Nazis. And he said, hey, if you're Nazi-friendly or adjacent and there's an expletive, unfollow me, because Nazis deserve death and nothing else. He also talks about, says, I want socialism, and I'll not wait for the idiots to finally come around to understanding, talking about cigarettes killing people. He tweets, you can't kill 50 plus people and injure 600 in 10 minutes with cigarettes, my dude. So he has some issues. There was a cute, see if I can find it here. He's urged people to vote blue. And he didn't like Kamala Harris because she was a, quote, cop. They said Warren I'd happily vote for. But are we going to see in the media, pro-Warren supporter kills people in Ohio? I doubt it. There's I don't know if I can get it on this mighty Samsung S1 that I've got, but there's a cute climate change picture. Let's see if I can get it up here. It's Smokey the Bear with a red bandana, and I'm not sure if the camera's going to reverse it or not. But it says, remember, the planet isn't dying. It's being killed. So he had some issues, and he was not a MAGA hat wearing Trump supporter. They're quickly changing the narrative to, he was into video games and things like that. So I implore people, please, instead of just jumping on everything that's bad that happens, it's because of climate change, or it's because of Trump, or it's because of whatever. And I don't even blame the garbage media, Joe Scarborough and Don Lemon and goofballs like that, who are, in my opinion, are propaganda shills for the left, just as people, would say that, not Lauren Chin, but, oh, crud, who's the blonde female attorney? Name just slipped my mind. But there's people that, they consider alternative media or the right-wing media as propaganda shills for the right. And I get it. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but please, save your vitriol for things that really matter. If you're going to ask me to not comment on your site, you don't need to use expletives. It doesn't impress me. And I've had several people. It was interesting, before the most recent shootings happened, there was a real nice lady that I talk to frequently. She's a janitor at work, legal Mexican immigrant. And we get along very, very well. And she asked me, says, at first she prefaced it with, Trump wants to kill us all. What propaganda organ are you listening to? Is this on, La Raza Radio? Again, if I started a radio station, called The Race, that wouldn't go over very well now, would it? But it's okay if it's La Raza radio. But I'm sure it was, unfortunately, she hears things from people that intentionally spin information and spin things to put fear in the hearts of people that are here legally. And that's wrong, because it's fomenting economic divisions, class divisions, racial divisions. And last I remember, a big part of World War II, and a big part, not all, but and a big part of the American Civil War was to help put an end to this nonsense about race or religion as race. I just, when we embrace non-thinking evolutionary thought and secular humanism for the sake of secular humanism, and, this is the qualifier, and discount and demean people that are people of faith, that feel that there is a power greater than the self, or a power greater than the state, then they're demeaned, they're ostracized. Kids that, and recently a kid in England was kicked out of school for 5 days because she asked to not be included in, I believe she's a 5th grader, LGBT indoctrination. And I don't see a place for that among kids, that kids that young. There will be people that disagree with me. We can have a rational discussion. I'm all for it. Like I've said, quoting Dennis Prager, I feel that understanding is more important than agreement. And that's why I have very good relations with many, many people that are not of my religious community, because I look for the commonalities. I look for the things we do agree on, and then we can discuss, what makes our different dogmas slightly different. Anyway, I promise this to be short, and I've already rambled on for a little over 13 minutes. Be intellectually honest, be intellectually open. You cannot discuss the problems on the right, and there are problems on the right. I get it. But you can't discuss the problems on the right without discussing the problems on the left, because ultimately they're human problems. And they're problems of good and evil on both sides. I get it. That's why we need people that have goodwill and seek to try to do good in the world need to band together. We need to come together. Whether you're a liberal, I kind of discount the left. I don't have much hope for them. They've drunk the Kool-Aid. Maybe there's hope. But liberals and conservatives, I think, have more in common than not. There's the whack jobs on the right and the whack jobs on the left. They need to straighten up and fly right. And the vast majority of people who are trying to be good and trying to make this constitutional republic work in spite of its flaws and to improve it, but not trying to destroy the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, because that's the bedrock of our liberties. That's what secures our God-given rights, because our rights of press, assembly, speech, self-defense, being secure in our affairs and art papers, unreasonable searches and seizures, all those good Fourth, Fifth Amendment things, those are all granted to us by a divine power. And the role of government is to secure those rights and to keep liberty alive. Anyway, it's again, I'm rambling on again. I do that a lot. My kids will agree. Oh, Dad's rambling again. But thank you for spending time with Dad. If you're a person of goodwill, feel free to politely comment. We can have discussions, and we can move forward together in a good and powerful way. All right, love you. Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.